Yes, I was very touched because the incident had meant something to him, as heaven knows it had to me. I was also rather ashamed because I hadn't been back to see the man who had taught me so much. And he said, "What became of you?" I said, "I became an actor." He said, "Are you successful?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Come along. I'll show you what I showed you 25 years ago." It was like a solemn ritual in memory of my youth. And I remember when we parted that time, he said to me, "Well, if you don't come and see me for another 25 years, I shall certainly be dead. But they'll give me a cathedral up there to show people around, and if you've behaved yourself, I'll show you around that one, too." That's the last time I saw him, because 2 years later he was dead. Well, now this story changes direction a little. I suppose the most sought after of all the French modern abstract painters is a man called Alfred Manessier. That's Manessier. And I'd always wanted to own a Manessier, and one day I bought one in Paris. Oh, it's got a background of purple blue, and there's a tumbling force of green, blue, and black, and vermilion, and violet rose tumbling through the picture. And there was an echo of something else that had happened to me in that picture, and I didn't know what it was at the time. But that evening, the evening of the day I bought the picture, I met Manessier for the first time. We were very shy with each other. We're very good friends now. But eventually he told me that what he'd been trying to show in this painting was the pursuit of man by God. And the tumbling force of color through the purple blue of the upper air was a representation of the Spirit of God in pursuit of the soul of man. Well, that year, I was at Stratford-on-Avon in England, where Shakespeare was born. I was acting in Shakespeare. I was acting King Lear there. And I had a letter from Manessier asking me if I'd be the first person to see his new collection of paintings. Well, it's a very great honor to be asked to be the first person to see a great artist's new painting. So I had 3 days off from the theater, and I went over. I saw the paintings, and as I was leaving before lunch, I was making my excuses to the household because I didn't want to burden the household. Manessier said to me, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to Chartres Cathedral, because that's only about 14 miles away from Manessier's farm." And he said, "I'm coming along with you." Well, in the automobile on the way there, my heart was pounding with excitement at the idea of seeing the great stained glass windows through the eyes of the great painter. And unaccountably, the purple blues and the green blues and the blacks and the vermilions and the violet rose of the painting I owned were swirling around in my mind. It was just as if pieces of a puzzle were trying to fit themselves together. And I suddenly had a wild suspicion. And I said to Manessier, "Did you know Houvet?" And there was a long, long pause. And then he said, "You too." And so we didn't speak to each other all the way to Chartres Cathedral. We were too moved that this man had picked us out. And so when we got to the cathedral, we ran about like children, shown us the same things, said many of the same things to us. And it finished up by standing underneath the great central tower of Chartres, and there the stone pillars go up and up and up until the stone seems to lose all weight, and the great stone roof seems to float in the air above your head. And Manessier looked down to me and said, "We have good fathers, you and I." And that's the end of the story. Well, those two things were about religious experiences. Now, there's a third thing here about a religious experience. This is a psalm, and it is a song by a man who felt his Creator in all the wonders of nature around him. And if you want to look it up, it's Psalm 104. It goes like this. "O Lord my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a garment, who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain, who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. The waters stood above the mountains, at thy rebuke they fled. At the voice of thy thunder they hasted away. They go down by the valleys unto the place which thou hast founded for them. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth, and wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. The trees of the Lord are full of sap, where the birds make their nests. As for the stork, the fir trees are her house. Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. O Lord, how manifold are thy works! The earth is full of thy riches, so is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan whom thou hast made to play therein. He looketh on the earth, and it trembleth. He toucheth the hills, and they smoke. I will sing unto the Lord as long as I live. I will be glad in the Lord. I suppose all you can gather from those three things is that the Spirit goes on. It goes on from the Psalms to the great medieval artists, to a great medieval scholar, to a great French painter, to an actor, to a writer from San Francisco who's being called a beatnik. Same thing, you know. And it'll go on from there.